If you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, what's a common bundle negotiation strategy that's used against you and why does it matter? This is a super important question. I'm Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a perfect day to talk about you. All right, so today, heads up, hurt feeling day. There's gonna be some people who watch this that are not gonna be happy with me, and I am 100% okay with that. And so at some point, you are gonna meet with Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, and this is typically on investment properties, and this game is played a lot against you as a sales professional, especially if you do like heating and air, plumbing, roofing, electrical work. And so I'm just gonna give you the base price and we're gonna talk about heating and air first, okay? So let's say that you go out to a property and you take a look at it and you figure out whatever your job is, your scope of work, and you come up with a price of $20,000. It's like your bottom line gig that you have. So you've given your presentation and Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith comes to you and goes, hey, salesperson, hey, technician, I don't know if you know this or not, but I have a whole bunch of homes, okay? I've got a whole bunch of properties and, you know, I'm thinking if you can give me a good deal, I'll do extra systems with you. Which, timeout, in the space of me being around the heating and air industry for 22 years, in the entire time that I did full-time sales, in the entire time that I was a technician, like up until 2015, this happened one time out of thousands of calls. Does it happen? Yep, on a Wednesday on a full moon when you get out of bed and stub your toe. Does it happen anything past that? Probably not. So like you're gonna hear a lot of skepticism in me from dealing with thousands of calls and doing more ride-alongs than you can count, and not really believing that a lot of rental property owners should own rental properties because they really can't afford them. So they play games, right? I said it, get over it. I don't care. Leave your comments, do whatever you gotta do. Most rental property owners are flat out scumbags. 80%, 20% cool people, 80% suck. So if you're like, Scott, what does that have to do with pricing and everything that's going on and everything that you're doing? I'm like, well, because you gotta know the common negotiation strategies that people use against you that sometimes are completely unethical. And this right here is why you should join HVACTechSecrets.com. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not the. Hey Scott, how do you deal with this? How do you counter this common negotiation scheme that people use against you with the promise of doing business? So like first you got to qualify it. Like, hey, do you really want to get these products done or is this pie in the sky? And you know, you're going to be able to tell from the like, well, you know, it's probably pie in the sky. If they're like, no, I really want to get it done. Okay, you have a better shot, but it's probably not real anyway. So like if you came to me and you were a rental property owner or supposedly have all these properties, probably don't, by the way. This is the pattern for you to use. And if you're watching and you're one of these people, scumbag. So the best way to do this and the best way to deal with this, yeah, you got hurt feelings, I don't care. The best way to do this is you go, hey, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, the best price you're gonna see on me on one system is 20 grand. The best price you're gonna see for me for two systems is 18. The best price that you're gonna see from me on three systems is 16. And the best price you're gonna see is on 14.4. Now, what you need to know is in the mind of the buyer that your lowest price that you are going to now negotiate on is on spot number 4, right? That 14,200. And you need to be able to explain the economies of scale. Say, hey, look, you know, the owner is willing to do this based upon 4 systems, not 1, 4, right? So if you come back and you tell me I want to do one system at 14.2, this is where the gamemanship of the negotiation strategy is in the mind of the buyer. Like this right here is the real price, right? They're thinking that's the real price, not realizing the cost of equipment, the cost of somebody being on the job. Like there's a hope for the company that they're going to keep some crews busy, but that number, that 14.2 is where they're going to anchor points to. Now, part 2, punchline to the joke. Let's say that you are second, third, fourth, 10th person out there because they're hunting for a price. So you meet with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I had been out there before, and I run this scenario. And I say one system, 20 grand, two systems, 18 each, three systems, 16 each, and 4 systems of 14.2. Just so you know, heads up, punchline to the joke, again, when they tell you I've got bids, they're gonna say, well, I've got bids for 14.2, right? And so anytime somebody would ever tell me, hey, I've got this outlandish bid. I'm like, show it to me. Oh, well, that's unethical. Well, it's unethical for you to tell me that you got this bid and say I've got this number when it's probably fabricated, right? So you want me to take your word that somebody gave you a price? Well, they probably gave you that price based upon what I just said. So if you're like, hey, Scott, what do I do? Well, you stage your numbers based upon outcome of buying multiple units. And like, there's a lot of really good buyers out there. There's a lot of really good people who are ethical. I am going to flat out say that the people who pull these shenanigans and do this type of stuff are flat out scumbags. It's not something that I miss. It's something that I have no problem saying. And if you're like, I'm a homeowner and I got to get my best deal. Yeah, don't freaking lie about it. That's a flat out lie. If you come to me and say, hey, Scott, I want you to come do some training and I do my pricing this way, and then we figure out pricing right here based upon long term, and then you're like, well, no, I want to do this, but I want that price. And I'll be like, pound sand. Ain't happening. Thanks for playing. Play the warp, warp, warp sound and get the hell out of here. You got to be aware that this is a common thing that happens in rental properties, and it's typically from scumbag owners. And I've said it like 7 times. Let's say it again, scumbag owners. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here, just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it. And every time I send a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, share this video with a friend, tag him in it. And if you're a scumbag homeowner, I don't care. Leave your comment. I'll make sure that we have some fun. We'll see you soon.